right, good morning, Glenn Walters. The sun is rising over Bermuda. You finished here last night?
Yeah, we did. We finished, I guess you could say at 12:30 this morning, so I guess that was half a night.
Technically this morning, right? Yeah.
Technically, barely.
The crack of nighttime, yeah. So how'd the race go for you? And tell me a little bit about your program.
Well, the program is aboard a SunFast 3300, which we've been campaigning for the last year or so. And 2 years with Kenny Reed, who's raced it in numerous events. And the race was a brilliant surprise on many levels, both conditions as well as results. When the results are oftentimes not reflective of conditions, so we got lucky.
Let's get to the conditions. So far, the boats that came in ahead of you, it was all about the pounding on a couple days, but being able to just set the spinnakers and just let it go. Same for you?
Yeah, yesterday was a ripping day. We had an A4 up all day. Some of my crew was doing record, for us anyway, record speeds of over 22 knots and very consistently. The boat handled very well, in control. And it was a fun and safe experience, so that's important.
You mentioned that you were not alone on the boat, so
Yeah.
let's give a quick shout out to your crew then, who did this journey with you.
Absolutely. My son, Darren, who I've raced and sailed with for decades since he was young. I gave him a lot of the responsibility as far as organizing. So he was technically the skipper and navigator. And then we had a gentleman from the UK called James Harada. He's been racing a SunFast 3300 for the last 2 years. And now he's moved on to an Amoka 70, and he's going to be sailing around the world solo in 2 years. And he's been working with Didi Kafari, so he knows the boat really well. And then the other gentleman is someone I've raced with for several years, called Ryan Novak out of Providence, Rhode Island, Mass Maritime grad, and a really good guy.
Excellent. So were you originally going to do the double-handed group and then switched up? What was the story there?
Yeah, my son and I talked about double-handed, and I considered it in the context of, I turned to my son and I said, Darren, okay, 2 people with an autopilot, is that the same or better than 4 people without an autopilot? But on balance, having the crew that we had really made a big difference.
This kind of spreads the fun a little bit too. It's kind of, it's as much fun as double-handed sailing is, spreading the excitement for a few more doesn't hurt, does it?
Well, not only that, if you're double-handing, you basically don't see the other person at all.
You don't see half the race.
Right, they're up and you're down below, and then vice versa. So, yeah, it's a different experience. Yeah.
So the boat was actually really built for this kind of sailing as well. I mean, the shape and just sort of high-speed downwind sailing.
Yeah.
Is there one memorable clip of this race that really stands out that you're like, man, this is the magic moment?
Well, the memorable clip was to have the 2 of the individuals, Ryan as well as James, being gleeful for 4 hours as they just crushed it. And we would not have won this race had they not, in 4 hours, just had the time of their lives. And I was listening to them down below, and they were just having so much fun. It's not like they were over pushing the boat or, exceeding the limits of the boat. They were just enjoying themselves, and that sticks in my mind a lot.
What's the boat setup for that kind of conditions? What on the sail inventory? How were you set up?
On that, we were set up with I think we had a single reef in the main, and we had the A4. Yeah.
Good combination.
It was the right combination. I mean, maybe it should have been the A5. So.
But you got through it. So
We did.
you are also a race sponsor, so let's just sort of cut right to the chase there. That
Sure.
As soon as you open the Yellow Brick Tracker, it's Bluenose Yacht Sales is there, and being a supporter of this race, keeps this thing alive. As somebody told me yesterday that these races are so important for people to get the experiences like you guys have.
Yeah.
And so, what was it like being the title sponsor of a race that you possibly have won your division?
Yeah. Well, sponsorship of the race is important to me because I like and enjoy supporting the sailing community, and whether it's Sail Newport or other similar ventures, I think it's important to give back. And the Newport Bermuda race has a lot of visibility, and I don't have any hesitation in saying that. Look, I hope it was good for our brand, our visibility, but it's also, I think, important to help the sport and sponsor the sport and get more people interested.
It is amazing when you look at the entry list of the vast majority of cruiser racers and real multi-purpose boats in this race. It seems, especially this year, most of those are probably in your inventory, right?
How so in my inventory?
Boats that you sail or broker, or proper boats for this kind of race.
Not as well. First of all, inventory has been very light this year, and,
which is a good thing.
Yeah, their boats are selling oftentimes faster than we can bring them to marketplace. Yeah. But certainly, we're one of the largest dealers in the United States for new and brokerage boats, and we have 4 offices in New England, and selling more SunFast 3300s is an important part because we want to support also the double-handed racing community, and which has grown significantly in Europe in the last 5 years. And I think it has a lot of potential here in the U.S. as people see that they don't have to feed and clothe and house, a dozen people to sail their 45-foot sailboat. So.
What do you think is kind of holding the U.S. back on this double-handed thing?
That's a very interesting question because I'm not sure it's holding us back. It's just the other countries, especially France, have got a leg up on us, got a jump up on us, started before us, and also the French community is very much aware of the sailing racing community, especially single-handed and short-handed, going back for 50 years.
Yeah. Maybe it's a little bit you look out over here of just everyone likes sailing with all their friends, so it's hard to leave everybody on land. So let's just take everybody.
Yeah. There's an element of that, and I also enjoy taking out gentlemen, in this case, in my race over, but also we're sponsoring 2 women going back on our boat, double-handed race from here back to Newport. And whether it's women or men, I think it's important to give back in a way that you allow them to take a boat back that is high performance, and hopefully they'll enjoy, and hopefully they'll do well.
Yeah. The double-handed race, going back to you mentioned, that's a new thing.
It is a new thing. Yeah.
Let's tell us about that a little bit.
Well, as you've already said, it's a new thing. So
not much to say yet.
Remains to be seen how. I think the scratch looks pretty good. There's some very competitive teams, as it was here, by the way. I mean, this is a very competitive race, and for us, it was a shock to let's say podium place, let alone arrive in a first place and second overall. But we went out of our way to find 2 very qualified women, one from the UK, one from the US, and we hooked them up to the boat, and they hopefully will do similarly as we did going back. I said to my guys today, I said, hey, we've now raised the bar for these women that they can't say it's not the boat, because I am not as much of a pro as at least one of these women. So.
And did you leave them with a complete sail inventory to go home?
Sadly, no.
Okay. Let's tell us about that situation there.
I blew up the A4. I'm not sure how much stress it took before I blew it up, which I know it did, but late in the day, I'll take responsibility. I blew up the A4, so I have to bring in maybe another A3 or an A2.
When you say you blew it up, where, when, and how did it happen?
It was late yesterday afternoon. It was right after the boys had made their world speed records of over 22 knots, and the wave state was very unstable, and the wind also started to become more variable, and all it took was basically one wave pushing the stern one way, and we had a Chinese jibe, and that was the end of that.
End of the story. Well, you maybe can blame the kids that they just fatigued this kite, by pushing it over.
That's exactly right.
This was a team effort, right? So it was a team breakage too.
They pushed it pretty hard. If I hadn't have broken it, somebody else would have. So it was good.
Excellent. Let's go to the tactics and strategy of your race.
Yeah.
If we were to sort of dial back to the Bluenose tracker. What was the plan going into it? Did you sail to your strategy? And obviously, what was the winning way to go?
I think we largely sailed to our strategy. We went to the east. We know a lot of teams went to the west, and the start for our class, for those of you who don't know, was horrific because there was a thunder lightning storm that came in Newport. We had an AP, and we sat there as the rest of the fleets sailed away in 20 knots, 15, 20 knots of wind. And by the time this thunder and lightning storm dissipated, the wind had gone to 5. So we were out there floating with quite a few other of the class members. But bottom line is, we thought we were toast. But slowly but surely, the wind actually, in the first 12 hours, was nowhere near what was predicted for us at all. We still decided to follow the Gibbs and go to the west. Went to the west and then made it back to the rum line right before, sort of right in the same vicinity as the Gulf Stream. We caught the Gulf Stream very well, both going in and exiting, as well as one little counter current. And then we were wondering for hours, were we alone in the race? And then all of a sudden people showed up on the horizon, and then we ditched them as we flew by them at 20 knots. And then in the last half of the race, we were wondering, what did we do wrong? Because nobody was there. And then slowly but surely they started to fill in from, in this case, the west. So it was, it had us on edge as to whether or not we had done the right thing or the wrong thing.
And in those times, do you feel like, well, you can't really, your cards have been dealt, you got to sail the boat as fast as you can anyway. So
Yes, right.
You got to throw that mindset away of where the other boats are and just keep sailing, huh?
Right.
Yeah.
I like to tell myself that, every time you come off of watch and you come on watch, you have to basically hit a reset button and say, okay, this is the race right now. Forget about what happened, yesterday, what happened in the last 4 hours. The race is on right now. And go as fast as you can and do the best you can and see what happens.
And as you were rolling into town on the 12:30 arrival, did you know where you stood in the standings, or was that sort of a morning finding?
That's a very good question. We got all sorts of mixed pieces of information. One piece of information from people who had been watching and following Yellow Brick Tracker was we were last, and then 2 hours later, oh, we're first. So I don't know how we went from last to first, but I do. And this whole corrected time business is a mystery. It's like, I think they put numbers into a black box and they turn the numbers and out come the result. So
whatever that box is worked out for you this time.
I have no idea. Yeah. Seriously, the competition was really, really good, and we've raced against a lot of these people, and most of the time they've cleaned our clocks. But this time, we just happened to have the right combination, and we're fortunate we had a good team.
Excellent. All right, so you get to hang out here in Bermuda.
Yeah.
You don't have to bring the boat home. You got the girls racing at home. So Yeah, congratulations on an awesome win and an
Thank
easy
you.
exit, I guess
Thank
it would be,
you.
yeah.
The amazing thing is, not only did we win our class, but then allegedly we're second in the entire fleet. So I have no idea how we did that.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it was
Cool.
fun.
Yeah. All right, well, thanks for supporting the event.
Yeah, thank
Sailing
you.
a great race. And,
All right.
well, I guess, so the next edition, what are you going to do?
That's a good question. You know, we're looking at a bunch of races. Oh, you know, we'll be doing the New York Yacht Club race week, and Kenny Reed is doing Newport Solo Twin, and then he's also doing the Isla Lewis race, and I think we'll be doing the Isla Lewis race as well in a SunFast 3300.
And the next Bermuda race in an IMOCA 60? Something
Nah,
like that? 11th hour will be
I
done with
don't
their boat.
think
You
so.
might as
I
well
don't
take
think
it. You know, you're not going to need it anymore. So, yeah. Cool.
Very good.
All right, thanks, Glenn.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Go enjoy your rum swizzle, or is it a dark and stormy yet? What have you had?
Dark and stormy is the cup of tea.
go-to.
Yeah,
Cool.
that's the go-to.
All right.